What's going on, guys? It's Jamie here, also known as the FM Hub, posting once again on FM Scout TV, continuing with our Championship Billionaire experiment. Last time around, we got up to the end of the 2017 summer, and we had a look at some of the transfers that had been made across the Championship, as well as the teams that had been promoted up to the Premier League. And today we're going to cover that season, and we're also going to cover the transfers as we go by as well, and see what's happened. But we had teams be promoted. The way I've set this up as well is different to other Billionaire experiments, where initially at the start I'd give a team £1 billion. Now I've set them all up with a sponsorship deal, meaning every single year the initial 24 championship clubs get an extra £1 billion. So their income is nobody can match it. Simple as fact. You know, you look at the Premier League table, likes of Man City, Chelsea, Man United. They're only up there because they have the spine of the team there. You look at the transfers Manchester City are making, and despite the fact they're spending 142 million, they can't do that every single season. Whereas the likes of Middlesbrough, the initial clubs have. Middlesbrough, you can see, finishing up in 5th place. A very good year for them. Just 4 points outside of the Champions League places. We've seen them get promoted in our first season. In the first season in the Premier League, they stayed in 7th place, pushing on to 5th this season, so improving definitely. How much did they spend? They spent £97 million. They sold off £50 million, though, getting rid of a bit of dead weight there. Emre Can, we can see Sirigu. Some decent players there, investing mostly, trying to just improve the spine of the squad and try and keep them in the league. But let's look at the Championship and see how things have done there. We had teams get relegated now down to the Championship. We see Reading win it with 90 points. Nottingham Forest behind them. MK Dons finishing in 3rd, becoming the playoff winners as well, which is what we like to see. We like to see the team finishing in 3rd win the playoffs. Relegated, Sunderland and Stoke. We both know that they were both of them teams were in the Premier League in the first season, but can't compete with the spending power of the Championship teams, which is what we're starting to see. So Sunderland going down to League One will be interesting to see if they can bounce back. I mean, they must still have some sort of money and should be able to fight their way out of League Two, but not going well for them. We saw Stoke go down as well. Another club which you wouldn't expect to be going down like that, but obviously they just can't compete. They spent £20 million still, but when you've got the likes of other teams spending £20 million per player, it's not a big amount. Hull down there. Southampton as well, finishing in 20th place. So they're really, really struggling to just manoeuvre in the transfer market as well. They spent £82 million this season and couldn't even stay up in the Premier League. In the Championship rather. They sold a lot of players. Moussa Dembele went to Man City for £33.5 million. Huge transfer that. Mane went to QPR. That's the thing you have. These teams that have players and can sell them on to the Championship teams, they can guarantee to make themselves a little bit of money. But Southampton didn't get relegated actually, but very, very close to. We'll track them as time goes by. Swansea are getting on a little bit better actually. They got relegated in the first season, 18th in the second season, an improvement up to 10th. Who are they signing? £6 million spent, nothing substantial, but they've got a good enough squad, I'd imagine, to stay in the Premier League at this point. In the Championship, rather. In terms of overall transfers and the sort of money that's being spent in the Championship, did we see some big signings? I imagine that we almost definitely did. Let's scroll up to the top and have a look. Of course, we've seen these 45 million transfers. As you can see, a lot of teams are going from Championship team to another Championship team. Like Zivkovic going from MK Dons to Nottingham Forest, 38.5 million. Just because there's that sort of economy in the Championship at the moment where any of these teams can sign any other teams. Halilovic went to Ipswich for £30 million. Halilovic normally goes on to be a very, very good player. He's currently wanted by Tottenham. Elsewhere, Will Hughes, a good youngster, going from Blackburn to MK Dons. Going to be interesting to see how MK Dons get on in the Premier League here. Also, interestingly, we're starting to see the Championship actually go down in terms of rankings, which is interesting. And maybe it goes to show to the fact that in terms of quality, maybe money isn't the most important factor, but I'd like to see them jump up and push up the divisions a little bit. If we go down to League One as well, you can see that League One's actually improving as well. And when you look at the transfers, you can see why, because big sort of fees are being spent. Rotherham very active in League One this season. They actually were the holders last year, but you can see definitely some transfers which you're never expecting to see. And even if it's a League One player selling on to a Championship team, it does well for the overall economy of League One. I don't think we're seeing it trickle down to as far as League Two just yet. In fact, I haven't even got that loaded. But we'll monitor it as time goes by. Rotherham having a good rise up the divisions, and we'll see how they get on as time goes by. What else? What else can we look at? I think we're going to go to the end of the summer now and take a look at the teams that have gone up, how they've manoeuvred around the transfer market, what they've managed to get done We're going to be concentrating on MK Dons, Nottingham Forest and Reading. So let's go forward to the end of the summer. So here we are at the end of the summer. What we're really going to look at now is how the teams that have just been promoted, how they've manoeuvred in the transfer market, and also how their first few games have gone. They've only played one game in the Premier League, but the Championship we can start to see Charlton, Watford, Sheffield Wednesday, Huddersfield at the top of the table. Obviously, early days yet. You can see in League One actually, Stoke are top of the league, but Sunderland aren't even in the top 7. They're in 8th. They've already lost the game, so we will be keeping an eye on them, seeing how they get along. We want to sort of focus on the Championship and the Premier League. Let's look at the Championship transfers then. Big transfers as usual. You can see most of them happening in between clubs in the same division. Fosu Mensah went to Fulham for quite a big fee, 16 million, but not extortionate. Medeiros went from Liverpool to Birmingham, a good little player there. Who else have we got? Balassi went to Fulham. Really not that big of a year in terms of what we've seen in the past. You can see some big transfers the past few years, 45, 62 million, huge amounts of money, but not as big this year. Maybe teams are wising up and realising, or I suppose that's what you expect as time goes by. This is the teams have spent 2 seasons of spending huge amounts of money, so it's no surprise. Not that they're running out, but they're just not spending as much. In terms of the Premier Division, Jonathan Tah went from Leverkusen to MK Dons, £28 million. He goes on to be a great player, so that's a good sign in there for them. This lad from Zerpo went to MK Dons as well. Anyone else? MK Dons spent big. They spent a lot of money. Belotti went to them from Everton as well. Huge amounts of money. £47 million was the biggest transfer in the Premier Division, and that was from Baradi. Coming up then, let's look at the Premier Division and see what things are looking like overall there. Brentford in 2nd place, not doing too bad after 2 games. Guardiola is now the manager there, which is surprising, with the likes of Lukaku, Cresswell and Gert. So this season they spent not as much, £10 million, but Nabil Fekir, Victor Moses, not bad signings. Last year's they spent 182 million, 370 million, so they don't have as much money anymore, but they found themselves in a good position in the Premier League. Will be interesting to see how they develop over this season. MK Dons are in 17th, only 2 games played, like I said. Carl Robinson, the manager, likes of Kevin Prince Boateng, Gabriel Paulista, Jonathan Tah. They've got some good players there, definitely. They spent 203 million this season on... Oh no, that was the first season, sorry. This season they spent only 101 million pounds. Some very big signings in there. They only sold 21 million, and that was mostly the Callum Chambers transfer to Liverpool. So they've spent a lot of money. We'd expect them to stay in the division now, like Reading and Brighton towards the foot of the table at the moment, but we'll track things as they go by. In the next episode, what we'll do is continue to see how things go. We'll be progressing forward to the end of the first season, and then also doing the transfers for next season as well. So we're really pushing on. Hopefully we'll start to see the landscape of the Championship change and the English divisions as time goes by. You can see the Championship has actually jumped up 2 places, back up to 23rd. Hopefully they can get a positive trajectory now and start earning on the likes of Poland, Sweden, Romania, Bulgaria, who are above them. And seem to be in decline a couple of leagues. Romania's in decline, so is Sweden. So maybe it might be an opportunity now for the Championship to take these leagues over. But we will see. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Please do make sure you subscribe to the FM Scout channel. Be sure to check out my Marching Through Europe save if you haven't already. If I say so myself, it's a fairly interesting save and seems to go down well, so I think you might enjoy it. Drop a like on the video. Follow me on Twitter at twitter.com/FMHub. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you soon. Goodbye for now.